viewers, welcome to my channel. This is Priya Karnagaran. Hope you all are doing good. And in last two parts we have discussed about delegated legislation, and this class will be part 3. In this we will see sub-delegated legislation briefly. If you have not seen my first and second part of delegated legislation means, please go and check those parts and then come back to part 3. Then only you can understand the concept easily. So let's get right into the video. We will see meaning of sub-delegated legislation. When a statute confers some legislative powers to an executive authority, and if such executive authority further delegates those powers to another subordinate authority or agency, it is called as subdelegation. Thus, in subdelegation, a delegate further delegates. This process of subdelegation may go through many stages. If we may call the enabling act the parent, and the delegated and subdelegated legislation are the children. The parent in his own lifetime maybe get descendants up to 4 or 5 degree. And then we will see object of subdelegation. The first one is power of delegation necessarily carries with it power of further delegation. And the second one is subdelegation is ancillary to delegated legislation, and any objection to the said process is likely to subvert the authority which the legislature delegates to the executive. And the third one is subdelegation of legislative power can be permitted either when such power is expressly conferred by the statute or may be inferred by necessary implication. So these are the object of subdelegated legislation. And then express power. There is no difficulty as regards the validity of subdelegation, where the statute itself authorizes the administrative agency to subdelegate its power, because such a subdelegation is within the terms of statute itself. Thus, in Central Talkies vs. Dwarka Prasad, under the UP Control of Rent and Eviction Act 1947, it was provided that no suit shall be filed for the eviction of tenant without the permission of either a district magistrate or any officer authorized by him to perform any of his function under the act. The additional magistrate to whom the powers were delegated made an order granting permission. The Supreme Court held the order valid. And the next case is Ganapati Singhji vs. State of Ajmer. In that, the Parent Act empowered the Chief Commissioner to make rules for the establishment of proper system of conservancy and sanitation affairs. The rules made by the Chief Commissioner, however, empower the District Magistrate to devise his own system and see that it was observed. The Supreme Court declared the rules ultra vires as the Parent Act confer the power on Chief Commissioner and not on the District Magistrate, and therefore the action of Chief Commissioner subdelegating that power to the District Magistrate was invalid. And then implied power. Griffith rightly states, if the statute is so widely phrased that 2 or more tiers of subdelegation are necessary to reduce it to specialized rules on which actions can be based, then it may be that the court will imply the power to make the necessary subdelegated legislation. And the case law is State vs. Barino, in that the Enabling Act empowered the President to make regulation concerning exports and provided that unless otherwise directed the functions of President should be performed by the Board of Economic Welfare. The board subdelegated the power to its executive director, who further subdelegated to his assistant, who in turn delegated to it some officials. All the subdelegations were held valid by the court. Subdelegation can be studied under 3 subheads. The first one is subdelegation of legislative power, second one is subdelegation of judicial power, and then third one is subdelegation of administrative power. First we will see subdelegation of legislative power. The maxim delegatus non potest delegere applies to legislation also, and it is not possible for delegate to subdelegate the power conferred on him unless the Parent Act authorizes him to do so either expressly or by necessary implications. If the Parent Act permits subdelegation to officers or authorities not below a particular rank, then the power can be delegated only to those officers or authorities. Subdelegate cannot act beyond the power conferred on him by the delegate. If some conditions are imposed by delegate who must be complied with by the subdelegate before the exercise of power, those conditions must be fulfilled. Otherwise, exercise of power will be ultra vires. And then subdelegation of judicial power. It is well established that a judicial or quasi-judicial power conferred on a particular authority by statute must be exercised by that authority and cannot be delegated to anyone unless such delegation is authorized by the statute either expressly or by necessary implication. And then subdelegation of administrative power. Exclusion of judicial review. The rule of law has always recognized power of judiciary to review legislative and quasi-legislative acts. The validity of delegation can be challenged in a court of law. As early as 1877, in Empress vs. Bura, the High Court of Calcutta, High Court was reversed by Privy Council. Neither before the High Court nor before the Privy Council, it was even contended that the court had no power of judicial review and therefore cannot decide the validity of legislation. And that's it here. Thank you. Hope you all understand the concept that we have discussed in this class. If it was useful, give thumbs up to this video. And most of you have not yet subscribed, so please subscribe to my channel and tap the bell icon. Then only will get a notification while I am uploading the other concepts.